Hello, my name is Ramon, and I'm going to be doing my informative speech over Jiu Jitsu. What is Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? It is a type of martial arts that focuses more on grappling and taking your opponent down to the floor rather than punching or kicking them. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is an amazing self defense and a great way to stay in shape, especially if you don't like to run. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu also has a lot of amazing health benefits to it, not just physical, but also mental. Uh, and it's something that anyone can learn regardless of their size, gender, or age. Before the pandemic started, I was practicing jujitsu for about 6 months, and I experienced all the positive effects that jujitsu can have on a person. Although jujitsu is something that is generally associated with the UFC, MMA, and violence, it is not a violent sport. It is something more gentle in a way. The first thing, though, is I want to talk about the history of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and how was Brazilian Jiu Jitsu started. First, originally, Jiu Jitsu started off in Japan and made its way over to Brazil. While in Brazil, there was a teacher named Metsuda Maeda who trained three students named Luis Franca, Carlos and Gracie, or Carlos and uh, Helio Gracie. These three students would not only perfect the techniques, but they would also start developing their own and start branching off into what is now known as Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Uh, the Gracies would also start traveling and teaching classes around Brazil and even up into the United States. I was able to find all this information on the Gracie's website and the Essential Brazilian Jiu Jitsu website that will be linked below in my outline. Many Moving on from the history, I want to talk about how one practices Jiu Jitsu. Jiu Jitsu focuses more on forcing your opponent to surrender to grappling rather than violent way like punching or kicking them. Jiu-Jitsu battles normally happen with two people starting standing. One person will try to bring the other person down to the floor. Afterwards, they will then fight for a dominant position while trying to apply a hold onto the other person to make them submit. Uh, People that practice Jiu-Jitsu normally use a gi like this one. Here you go. It is This one is very heavy, but normally these are similar to karate gis, but the main difference being that the cuffs over here. That's not the cuff. There we go. That took me. So the cuff is a lot tougher because of how it is normally grabbed onto, and the collar. The collar is also extremely durable. This thing has been pulled on a lot during my 6 months that I practice. Jiu-Jitsu requires a lot of thinking that some people even compare it to a human game of chess. If you make the right move, you could end up losing any advantage you had in the session, and you could end up getting choked out or tapped out. And the main goal when you're practicing is to outthink your opponent. So if you're on the bottom, then you want to be able to somehow turn the tables on your opponent and take the top position. You can find more information about how grappling works on the Gracie's website. Now that you know more about Jiu-Jitsu, you're probably thinking that this sport is something that people who are very active can do. But Jiu-Jitsu is something that anyone can do. And it's great for staying or getting into shape. I was able to lose quite a bit of pounds from my first month. Stand-up comedian Joey Diaz, who I wish I had a picture of now, is a 57-year-old man that practices jiu-jitsu 3 times a week and is a blue belt in the sport. To get a blue belt, that is about 2 years of practicing consistently in jiu-jitsu. And he doesn't look like the type of person that would do jiu-jitsu or even be a blue belt in it, uh, but in interviews he talks about his love for jiu-jitsu. So when I started, I was only 24 years old, and in my class, there were people that were 30 and older, and those people were even smaller than me too, but they were still tossing me around and choking me out on my first couple of weeks. So if you are, let's say, 5'2" and had a year of experience, you could probably knock me to the floor and choke me out in a few minutes. And 9 seasons, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is perfect. Another website I linked, they talk about how Jiu-Jitsu builds character. That's also very true. Before I started doing Jiu-Jitsu, I had low self-confidence in myself and never wanted to do anything outside of my comfort zone. But after about a few months, I got more confident in myself to the point where I felt really confident about going back to school. And after listening to my speech, I hope you can see Jiu-Jitsu in a new way and see that it's an amazing sport. Jiu-Jitsu has a lot of great health benefits, and I hope that you are able to see these benefits in me. The martial arts isn't something you learn for self-defense, but it's more of a journey. And during that journey, you will be rewarded with good health, confidence, and a better mindset